Hey guys, what's good? This is Israel coming at you with another video. Thank you guys so much for all your love and support on my first video. I really do appreciate it. I'm just so glad that I'm being able to, speak to young people and just show them that, you know what, you're not the only one out there going through these situations. There's a lot more people that have gone through what you've gone through. And even though they may not be vocal about it, because certain things are really hard to talk about. So I did a poll on my Facebook, and I gave 3 topics to talk about, and it seemed like a lot of people wanted to talk about the first 2. And as I was talking to my husband, I was like, you know what, those 2 seem to go in hand together more than we'd probably like them to. So the first 2 were dealing with unfaithfulness and also being a young parent. And I know that probably speaks to a lot of you guys. You probably are young parents or about to be young parents, and your significant other has been unfaithful. And it really stinks. Let me just tell you, I'm here to tell you that it really does suck. I know how hard it can be, because I dealt with it myself. For those who, don't know my whole life story, which there's not many people that know the whole thing, but, most people get the gist. Basically, I got pregnant at 19. I was playing volleyball at my college, and I met my ex-husband now, and we met, we, hit it off. It was like I was in a fairy tale land, they call it the cupcake stage, and I was in the cupcake stage. I met this guy, and he was everything in my mind that I wanted my significant other to be. He was my best friend. He was hilarious. He made me feel safe. And, so many things went into the reason why I fell in love with him as fast as I did. But it didn't last for long, sadly. And just so you guys know, if you are coming on my videos to hear me bash my ex-husband or talk bad about him or do any of those things, it's not going to happen. Yes, I am going to talk about my experiences with him, but it's never going to be, oh, I hate him, oh, he's a disgusting person, oh, he's this, that, and the third. That's not going to happen. So if you're here for that reason only, deuce, get out. Get off my channel. Go take yourself somewhere else. Go watch Bad Girls Club retakes. Okay? Thank you. Anyway, so we were together for about 6 months, and I found out I was pregnant. And it was really hard, because I had this whole life planned out for myself. I was planning on playing volleyball for 4 years and, possibly going pro, possibly being able to, go to the Olympics or something of that nature. I loved volleyball. Volleyball was my life. And I loved that I was able to get a scholarship so I could also get my education at the same time. But sadly, the college that I went to was actually a Christian school. And they frown upon those things, getting pregnant out of wedlock. So I actually lost my scholarship. And I was asked not to come back to the volleyball team the next year. So that was really painful for me, because I had gotten this awesome opportunity to play my sport, get paid for it, and also get my education. And that was all taken away from me within a month. Me finding out, me telling my coach, and then them just, telling me, hey, sorry, but you broke the rules, so you got to move on. So we ended up getting married in March of 2014, and it was okay for the first couple of months. He was, supportive of me. He loved me. I stopped working because he didn't want me to. And that was okay, because, you know, just being able to relax and do nothing and still being able to pay the bills is awesome. But that didn't last for long either, being able to pay all of our bills. But that is besides the point. So slowly I started to, you know, feel like things had been changing. You know, he had started changing the way that he talked to me. He stopped being as affectionate as he used to be. He just kind of just separated himself from me for the most part. And, you know, I had no idea why, because this is the same guy that was obsessed, loved me, always said he loved me, told me how beautiful I was, and, you know, would post me on social media, say how proud he was to be with me, and then all of that just stopped. And I was curious on why, but I didn't ask. I started to do my own little investigation, you know, on the low. And long story short, I did not like what I found. I had found out that he was being unfaithful in numerous of ways, and it literally broke my heart. And this was before I actually had my daughter. And so that is probably when I should have excused myself from the relationship, but I didn't, because I feel like if you love someone, you should fight for what you love. And so I decided to stick around for a little bit longer. And I was like, you know what? I know you did this, and I love you, and we're married, and we're about to have a little baby on the way, and I really don't want to get divorced. I don't want to separate. I don't want, you know, us to have our daughter live in two different households. I don't want that for her. I just want her to be happy and have both of her biological parents who love her and love each other to be all under the same roof. That's all I wanted. And unfortunately, that's not what happened. You know, we moved on from that situation, and our beautiful baby girl, Amari Faith, was born. And, you know, I thought it changed something in him. I thought it, you know, made him realize, you know what? I love this little girl. I love her mother, and I don't ever want to hurt either one of them. And so, you know, I'm going to do what I have to do. And for a while, that's what it was, and that's what he told me. And then, you know, as time went on, you could tell that he was starting to do the same thing he did before. He stopped showing interest in me. He stopped talking to me as much as he used to. You know, he was gone. He would, you know, say, I'm going to go hang out with my friends, or I'm going to go do this, I'm going to go do that. And it became where I was alone a lot of the time. And at the same time, I was working, so, you know, when I was gone, I didn't know what he was doing. And I ended up, you know, getting messages from, you know, people telling me that my husband was being unfaithful, that he was on dating websites, that he was doing all these things, and I had absolutely no idea about them. And, you know, I confronted him, and he didn't like the fact that I was confronting him. He was upset, you know, but he had nothing to say in defense of what he did. He just was upset that I was confronting him, because he's a grown man and he should be able to do what he wants to do, even though he's married, you know. And he hated confrontation. Men, I've noticed, mostly in men, they hate confrontation. If there's going to be confrontation, they go head for the hills. You may as well just forget about having that conversation, because he's not going to do it, you know. He would just shut down. And so we stopped talking for 3-4 days. And, you know, I finally was like, you know what? What are we going to do? What is the next step in our life? Because I cannot live my life where my husband isn't sleeping in my bed, isn't telling me that he loves me, isn't, you know, willing to even communicate with me in any way, shape, or form, and still live in the same house. So what are we going to do? And I was actually about to have a surgery, and he told me, you know what, after your surgery, I want a divorce. Okay, cool, great. Awesome. That's what you want. That's what you gonna get, buddy boy. So, I cried a lot. Don't get me wrong. I was super hurt, broken in every way, shape, or form. But at the same time, I was like, you know what? If I wouldn't have had him say that to me, if he would not have said it and spelled it out for me, I want a divorce, I probably would have stuck around. And it probably would have been way uglier than what it was at that time. So in a way, I was grateful for that happening the way it did, because that gave me also the strength, because I looked at my little girl, I was like, you know what? This isn't healthy for you. This isn't what life I want you to have. This is not where I want you to constantly see your mother and father fighting and, you know, having to deal with seeing that or hearing these ugly, ugly arguments. So I was like, you know what? Packed up my stuff that same day that he said that and moved in with my grandparents for a couple of weeks at the time. And moved in with them, and I wrote up those papers with an attorney about a week and a half after I had my surgery. I was like, if this is what you want to do, I'm going to get this done right now, right here. I'm going to get it out of the way, because if I don't do it while I'm in this mindset, I'm going to be like, you know what, let's fix it. Let's fix it. You know, I love you. We're married. I have your last name. Let's just try to fix it. So I had to do it quickly. That's one thing that I need to tell any woman or man out there who has a unfaithful significant other and it's been going on for a long time. You know, once you get a sign that you need to leave in that moment, because you could have 1 second of hesitation and you're going to be right back where you started. You guys have to just move on as quickly as possible as soon as you feel that pain, that brokenness, and you're like, you know what, I can't do this anymore. When you think in your head, I can't do this anymore, and you've literally tried everything in your power to stay in that relationship, it's time to go right in that moment. Do not hesitate, do not second guess, just get out. Because if you don't, you're going to be in the same place and you're going to continue to get hurt, and it's going to be way harder for you to get into another relationship and trust another human being if you don't do what you have to do right in that moment. So we ended up getting divorced. I moved in with my grandparents, and it was very ugly for a really long time. I was in a depression. I was upset. I was angry at everyone. It wasn't just him. I was just angry at everyone. But when I would look into my daughter's eyes, I would realize that, you know what, there's no reason to be angry because I have her. Because this little girl, no matter what I do, is going to love me unconditionally for it. When you're young, you know, you may not always make the right decisions. And you're going to make a lot of mistakes. I mean, a crazy amount of mistakes, okay? Even when you have a kid. And you're going to have to grow up quicker than you want to grow up. You're going to still have friends that go to the clubs. They smoking weed and doing all this craziness stuff and getting drunk every night and being able to do all these things that you can't do because you're a parent. And you have things that you have to do when you get home, you know? There is gonna be a lot of times where you just are upset because you can't do things that your other friends can't. And it's gonna be really, really, really hard. But you know what? I just want you to think about how much your life has changed since you've had your child. How much more love you have felt since you've had your child. You need to think about that for a second. Because when I see that my friends are going out and I see my friends getting to do this, that, and the third, they're getting to go on vacations, going to Las Vegas, going here, going to Hawaii, doing this, doing that. And I'm like, you know what? I have a 5-month-old child and a 4-year-old. Ain't no way somebody's gonna watch my kids with a little baby and a toddler. Nobody's gonna do that, which, you know, I have family, I have friends that would do that for me, but it's very rare, and you know, it's only for a couple days. It couldn't be for like a week or two or whatever, because you have a responsibility to that child to be their parent. You can't just up and leave one day. I mean, you can, but you shouldn't. You know, because obviously people have done that. And, you know, I have been a young parent since I was 19 years old. For almost 4 years now, I've been a young parent. And I have had advice from many, many older people in my life. My mother was a young parent. My grandmother was a young parent. My father obviously was a young parent, and so was my grandfather, you know, and hearing their advice, you know, was very helpful. Very, very helpful. But, you know, at times there would be things that they felt that I should do as a parent, and I disagreed. And that was okay. You know, they have their own ways that they raised you, or they raised their kids or whatever, but it doesn't have to be the way you raise yours. And I feel like that's hard for some people to swallow, because they think, you know, oh, well, they're older. They had kids at an older age, or they have more wisdom and knowledge. They know everything when it comes to having kids. News flash. Ding, 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 ding. No one has been a perfect parent. No one. There are going to be some days when you have a child, when you're young, or even when you're older, and all you could do that day was to keep that baby alive. That is the reality. There are some days where there's literally nothing else that you do that day but try to keep that child breathing. And it's crazy to think about it that way, but it's true. I remember some days where I literally would be dog tired, and all I knew was that I had to get a bottle in this baby's mouth. I had to burp her. I had to change her diaper. I had to feed her again. I had to rock her to sleep. And that's all I could do. I couldn't be happy. I couldn't be sad. I couldn't be any of those things. I just had to do it. I had to take care of this child and make sure that she stayed alive. So, just know that when you're a young parent, you don't have to take everybody's advice. You can take it into consideration, but you don't have to take their advice, because at the end of the day, you are their parent, okay? You're their parent. They aren't their parent. You are. That baby came out of you, or you helped create that baby, okay? Just so we get that out of the way. But don't be negative. Don't say, you know what, you tried to help me. You can say what you want to say, but I'm not going to take your advice. Don't be that hateful parent either. Some people are going to give you some really good advice, and it's really going to help you. And you know, that's what I'm trying to be here for. I'm trying to be able to talk to you guys and just know that there is a light at the end of the tunnel, as much as you think that there isn't. Just be the best parent that you can be. Just do everything that you can to make that baby happy. If you don't have enough money for their birthday to get a cake, or for you to get them a present, just take them to the park. You know, sometimes all your kids want is to spend time with you. You do not have to buy them materialistic things. You do not have to buy them a cake or cupcakes or whatever to make them feel loved, to make them happy that they have grown and they're older. You just have to be there for them. You just have to make them happy in any way, shape, or form. You could give them a cardboard box and take them to the park, cook a little dinner, and they will be the happiest child in the world. Now, as they get older, it's going to become a little bit harder because they're going to know exactly what they want and how they want to get it and whatever. But while they're young, while you're young, just do what you can. Don't think that you have to do more to be a better parent, because you don't. Just because, oh, you know, Nancy is able to, you know, get him a huge custom-made cake. He's getting shoes, clothes, toys, all types of stuff. He got an iPad. Okay, that's Nancy and her son. Don't worry about them. Don't worry about that. That has nothing to do with you. Your kid is going to love you regardless of how you treat their birthday or however you take care of them. As long as you are doing what's necessary to make them happy, to make sure that they are healthy, they are going to be grateful. You don't have to be buying all these things and doing all these things to be the best parent in the world. That's not what you have to do. You're going to grow up with that child. You got to realize that you and that child are both growing up as you guys get older together. You're growing up with them. You're having to realize what you have to do as an adult at the same time as they're having to realize how to be a kid. So don't be hard on yourself. Don't think that you have to do this, that, and the third to make them happy. Just do what you can. Love them. And if you're in a relationship that could cause you or them any harm, whether it's physically, mentally, emotionally, get out. Don't put yourself in a position where you are choosing hurt over a happy life with you and your children. I love you guys so much, and I hope that this video helped you, and I will catch you guys on the next one. Bye. Hey guys, and I just forgot to say, love, peace, and progress.